Hello, I'm Laura from The Butterfly Mother. We make videos about parenting, mental health and emotional well-being, and today I want to share some of my C-section experience as well as 3 straightforward requests that you can make to your healthcare provider to improve your C-section and bonding experience. By way of introduction, I experienced perinatal mental health issues following the birth of my son 5 years ago, and a contributing factor to that was definitely my emergency caesarean section and some of the things that happened or didn't happen during that time. If I were to have another caesarean section, I would have a few requests to put in with my doctor that I think would really help the way I felt about my birth and the way I bonded with my son. It was the bonding that was a trigger for my perinatal mental health issues, and I think that some things changing during the caesarean section would have prevented that feeling. The first request, if you feel comfortable, is to ask them to lower the sheet as your baby is being born. Obviously they put sheeting up to protect you from the sight of them doing an operation on your abdomen, but also to keep things sterile. But there's a really interesting video which I will link down below, all about natural C-sections, and one of the things they do to make a C-section feel more like a natural birth is to lower the sheet at the moment that your baby is being born, so that you can have that instant connection and not feel completely distant from what's going on. The second thing I'd insist on is immediate skin to skin. Obviously this isn't going to be possible if there is a problem with you or your child and they need to address that in an emergency situation. However, if there isn't an immediate risk to your baby's health, then there's no reason why you can't still request skin to skin during a caesarean section. I think one of the reasons I didn't get to experience that, and in fact I didn't get to see my son for about 20 minutes, and then when I did see him, he was sort of held a few metres away from me, so I didn't really get that initial connection. I think one of those reasons was that they had to take him off to suction mucus, so that's fair enough. Obviously any medical intervention needs to take priority, of course. But I think the other reason is I was what they called fully blocked, so they'd given me too much anaesthetic, and therefore I couldn't feel or move anything sort of below my neck, apart from maybe a little bit of one arm. So I think they thought that that meant that I couldn't have skin to skin with my baby. But my husband was there, and you would have your birth partner with you, and they're kind of feeling at a bit of a loose end anyway and not really knowing what to do with themselves in that situation. So there's no reason why your birth partner can't hold the baby to you and allow you to have skin to skin. I've heard of lots of people who have had skin to skin following a C-section, so it's definitely something that you can request or insist upon with your healthcare provider. And the third request is to have your partner or birthing partner and your baby stay in the room with you while you are being sewn up afterwards. So by far and away the longest part of my caesarean was when I was getting stitched up, and during that time they whipped my husband and son off to another room to wait for me there. I spoke to my husband, and there was no medical checks being done on my son at this time, so to me it felt very unnecessary to create that very sort of severe physical divide between us moments after birth, especially when I'd already missed out on skin to skin, and seeing him being born, it was kind of like the final nail, having him taken out of the room entirely. That experience of being sewn up and feeling quite poorly and being alone in the room was one of the most jarring memories that I have, and I think it could have very easily been prevented if my husband and son had been allowed to remain in the room with me. So if you have an elective caesarean coming up, then these are definitely great tips to bear in mind, and even if you're planning a natural birth, you never know what's going to happen, so it's worth having a contingency plan should you need an emergency caesarean. Well, make sure that your healthcare provider is well aware of your wishes, either in advance if you're having an elective, or in the moment if you're going through for an emergency caesarean, if that is possible. So make sure that your doula and birth partner are well aware of your wishes too, so that they can advocate on your behalf if necessary. I truly believe that if these 3 things had happened, the lowering of the sheet, the immediate skin to skin, and having my baby remain in the room with me during recovery, if those things had happened, I do think it would have had a much more positive impact on me and on my memories of my birth, and could have gone quite a long way to preventing all the fears about bonding that ultimately led to my perinatal anxiety and OCD. If you want to know more about caesareans, my full birth story, and sort of more caesarean tips, I will link to a Facebook Live that I recently did on the topic, and I will also put a blog post up which is all about caesarean recovery. And lastly, please subscribe to our channel if you want more content relating to parenting and mental health, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!